Many of you are fed up of working 9 to 5 and want to quit traditional job. Today I want to interview some digital nomads who share the experience of working online. Through their answers, you get to know how to make money as a digital nomad. As well, I traveled to 17 countries just within 1.5 years. Following my Instagram page will give you understanding how I am monetized through my travels. Hello?
Hello.
Could you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Alicia. I am 27 years old and I work as a product manager in Germany for a startup. I work in the field of UX experience, user experience. Yeah.
How long you are working this type of job?
Now almost for 1.5 years. Yeah,
okay.
my background actually is in tourism. I did my bachelor in international management, focus on tourism. And then, to be honest, I don't know how I have this job, but I think the nice thing about my job is that I'm really creative. I'm in contact with people and I have the possibility to create beautiful things. Yeah.
Okay, so as your background is in tourism department, how you end up working here? How did you learn to create such kind of things? There might be some courses that you took.
Well, I was really lucky. It was after COVID when I finished my bachelor, and it was really hard for me to find a job, especially in tourism because everything was shut down. And I also discovered for myself it was not fulfilling me. I wanted something new. I wanted to somehow identify myself with my job. Then I was sending a lot of application, and I found a startup, and they're helping migrants and refugees in Germany to get government-funded courses. And so like, oh, this is something nice, I want to help people. And then I started actually in another position. And since it was a startup, they need to develop, new departments were created and we needed more help. So I had the chance to actually contribute with my creativity and with my skills. And they also supported me in that. So I grew somehow in that job. Yeah, after the months I knew this is what I want to do. It was really nice, I enjoy it. And now I'm doing also professional course in UX design to also get my certificate and to hopefully one day completely work for myself. But now I really enjoy working in a startup.
Okay, would you like to explain what means UX, because most of us don't know about it?
Yeah, it's funny because also me, I didn't know before. So UX means user experience. So you help technically people which are offering a service to make it more nicely, more easier, more pretty. For example, if you go on a website and you want to buy something, you're trying to fix all the little errors which maybe annoys you. For example, putting your items in the shopping bag. Sometimes it's not lean, there are like some little friction, no? In general, that an app is more easier to use and the customer are actually enjoying the purchasing process. But it could be also helping people in a coffee, restaurant or in a shop to have a better experience. So if I enter a shop, I need to feel that wow effect. I need to feel that feeling that I want to stay here, I want to spend my money and I want to go home. So like that was a nice experience. So really like shortly explain, this is what user experience is. And you can work in IT like for digital products, or you can also work, let's say, offline for real services. Yeah. And I like to focus on real services because I'm really passionate about coffees, food and restaurant. Also because of my background, so yeah.
Okay, that's so cool. How do you find your clients for creating such websites?
So for now I work in a startup and I actually develop products for them, service for them. So it depends on the needs of our candidates. We look what we have to improve, what we can do better. And if there is a need for candidates, for example, they say we need a new workshop for I don't know, training purposes or so. That's my job. I go there, I analyze the needs first, I see what we have to do, what data are proven there to show actually that I have to develop that that service.
Yes.
But if you don't work for a startup or company, there are lots of online platforms where you can upload your profile. And you have like a portfolio where you update your work and people can book your service, for example Fiverr. Or you can also go on LinkedIn, Facebook and update your profile there and people can contact you. But as a freelancer, especially in IT, it's all about networking.
Yes.
Getting to know people, exchanging, putting your name out there, your work out there. It's all about that, yeah.
But you are not promoting yourself on your social medias, right?
On social media, no, I'm a not so good example, I have to say. I'm very old school, but I need to work on that. But it depends. Sometimes when you're in a good community and you connect already, you can already achieve a lot of things from there. And some people, they really like put themselves out there. I think it's the balance. It depends also on the person, and it depends if you want to have lots of projects, lots of clients, or you focus on one person. You work with them for, I don't know, 6 months, 1 year. It really depends. Yeah.
Okay, okay. It sounds like you work very hard.
Yeah.
Could you tell us, like, how many hours do you work for per day?
It's really difficult to say. In my contract, of course, I work like 8 hours, but on top of that, I work more. There are weekends where I work, I finish some projects, because I'm not only working for the company where I'm employed, I'm also working for myself. So what I do is keep on working on little projects, how to improve, for example, that phone, or how to improve that microphone. I try to collect ideas and put it in the portfolio. And this will, at the end, show people that I actually have knowledge, you know. It's like constantly learning, improving, and trying to, be better.
So how do you find time to travel? You work such hard working,
Yeah, well, it's also all about balance. I have to say, people think when you're a digital nomad, you have the best life. Well, I agree somehow because I work from here, but it's also really hard because you really have to focus and work, you know, and at the same time not being distracted. So being in a beautiful country like Sri Lanka, it's really hard to wake up in the morning, say like, now I have to work when the ocean is in front of you. And then you have to struggle with things like not good internet connection, and sometimes not being focused, and you want to travel, and budgeting also your finance. So it's hard. But I love the challenge because this is where my creativity comes from. Yeah, I live from that. It really nourishes me. And I don't see myself working in an office from 9 to 5, always in the same environment. That will stop my creativity, and I need like this exchange, you know. Even though I'm working hard, I want to work hard in a beautiful place.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mostly in digital nomads, they create something new. Like we are also traveling the world and we're creating different kind of contents, videos on our YouTube, the same like you.
Yeah.
So this is your first country that you travel to?
I traveled before to Nepal, and I lived 3 years in Italy. But like really traveling, Sri Lanka is actually my starting point. Yeah.
Okay. So would you like to share your experience of traveling in Sri Lanka? Did you have any struggling here or any like advantages compared to Nepal or other countries?
Well, I have to say I'm in love with Sri Lanka, but it didn't start it like that. Because I have to say it depends on the mood and the motivation why you travel. To be honest, I just wanted to escape. I just wanted to, like, as fast as possible have a new life. I didn't set any intention, so I had a rough start because, of course, a new culture, then getting used that the internet is not so good, you know. You have to lower your expectation, especially when you grew up in Germany. But that helped me a lot to grow, you know. It learned me actually how to be patient and how to trust, and also how to trust myself. I was always doubting on myself. Oh, what you're doing, you know, you can't do it. Go back to your country. But no, like in these moments, I grew and I understood how to deal with this situation. So Sri Lanka, I love it now because I learned so much about myself, especially from the people here. You can learn so much from the kindness and how also entrepreneurs are doing business. They just do it. They don't think about, they don't plan for 5 years a business plan and are struggling. They just do it, try and error, and that's really beautiful. It's inspiring. Yeah.
Okay, okay. What about local food? Which kind of food did you like?
I love it. I love it. I love rice and curry, of course. My favorite rice and curry is mango curry. But I also love the roti with tuna. I like spicy food. And there's so many other things I love, especially the fruits. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Do you remember any name of like unfamiliar fruit for you?
Yeah, there's one, I just drink it that morning. It calls, I think, belly fruit. Belly fruit or slim fruit, I'm not sure. But you can look it up. It has a really hard shell. You actually have to smash it on the ground. And when you open it, it has a consistency like egg fruit or avocado, and it's really healthy for your digestive system. So if you have any problems, you just like eat it like this. Sometimes it tastes a bit like honey. There's like a little liquid inside, or you can make a juice. So this morning I just make a juice with some water and vanilla, and it's really filling and really healthy. Yeah.
Okay, that's so cool. You know, Alicia, many people I think are interested how much it's possible to get monetized on working on your type of job.
Yeah.
Could you tell us like some dependent of like how much you work you can get like this, or little bit more detailed about the income?
Yeah. Well, of course, I will answer now with the typical answer, it depends, which a lot of people don't want to hear. Also me, I was really frustrating, but it's like that. So, for example, I am employed as a freelancer in a company. That means I get my regular like salary, which is an invoice. Depends where your startup or your company is based. Mine is based in Germany, so the payment is maybe a bit higher than in other countries, or maybe also lower than in other countries. Then it also depends how strong these jobs are already integrated in a society. For example, in some Asian countries, maybe not too much, or maybe if you go to South Korea or Japan or China. And then in some countries, it's a bit hard to network, to find people. What I can say in general, it depends on how you network, how much you can put yourself out there, how much you can get new clients. Do you want to offer your service for a higher price, or do you also agree to offer your service for a lower price? It's more value for you, the learning, the connection. It really depends. Yeah.
So what do you think? Is it possible to get monetized, to have the income per month? I say like $1,500.
Yes.
Dollars,
yes.
It's possible.
Yeah, that's possible.
Is it like minimum range, or it might be maximum only? Maximum, okay, I cannot say maximum, it's unlimited, as far as you put your price for your work.
Yeah.
Okay, eventually your income is enough for your traveling?
Yes. Yes, but it also depends how much I work, because as a freelancer, I don't know in other countries, I only get paid for the hours I work. So I'm not getting paid for my vacation or my sick leaves. I have to put all this money aside. So if I decide to travel for 1 month, I'm not going to get paid. So I have to calculate that. When you are employed in Germany in a normal contract, usually you have like fixed holidays, let's say 30 days or 26 days. And in these holidays you get paid.
Okay.
I don't have this luxury. But the other part is I have the freedom, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
I always prefer the freedom than the money.
Okay, yes, that's right. Okay, would you like to give to some of our viewers who want to start to work like you any advice?
Yeah, well, listen to yourself. This is what my mom always told me. Don't force yourself to do any type of job when you feel like you are not happy. I think this is the most important thing. And a lot of people think they can't do it because IT, it's so complex and they're just nerds or whatsoever. Nowadays you can learn everything, and you have access to so many tools for free. I learned on YouTube. They're like Coursera, where I did like short courses, and then from there you can see if you like it, and if yes, maybe you can invest in a bigger course. Sometimes you don't even need a course. Sometimes you just sit down for 6 months, you learn, you do maybe some internship, you do a lot of networking, and then you enter the job. Or as me, I started in a company in a different position, and then I somehow ended up in the job. So it's important about your motivation and to follow what you really want. And if you know that and you have a passion, just follow it. There will be always ups and downs, no matter in which job, no matter where. Ups and downs are always part of life. And but one thing I want to mention is be sure that the digital nomad life is for you, because you don't have a person who kicks you in the ass like a boss or a colleague. you have to be that person.
Yeah.
And you are actually always working with yourself on your laptop and focusing on your goal. If you can do that, then of course it's possible. If you are more the person who needs to work in a community, in a team, it's also possible, but then maybe digital nomad life would be challenging.
Okay, yes. I think modern culture is changing so fast. Like nowadays you don't need to study 4 years at bachelor's and 2 years at master's and then 5 years in PhD. You just can have courses that you mentioned for 6 months or just studying yourself, and you very easily can find job, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
get maybe more income than those people who are studying 9 years and still cannot, they are still challenging with the income.
Yeah, and also what is totally for free is talking to people. Like if you find a UX designer or someone in IT, or you want to become a nurse or doctor, doesn't matter. Just ask the people who are already working in that field.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful exchange actually, because they can tell you about their experience and their learnings, and then from there you can also see, is it for me or not, and also talk with different type of people.
Yeah.
I think this is also how I actually was convinced that this job is for me, and I'm forever grateful for the people who took me under their arms and like, listen, I will show you everything I've got, you know, take it. It's a beautiful community.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Alicia.
you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I wish you safe travels.
Thank
you are
you,
going
you
to
too.
India.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope you will enjoy that country.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You
Okay.
too.
Hello.
Hi,
What is your name?
Martin.
Okay, where are you from?
I'm from the Netherlands.
Okay, I'm so happy to meet you here in Sri Lanka, in Mirisa. Would you like to explain how long have you been traveling?
In the past 3 years, I've been traveling half of the year, and the rest of my time I spent back in the Netherlands, in my home country.
Okay, okay. To which country you used to travel?
I've lived in Dubai for half a year. I've traveled a lot in Asia, lived for 2 months in Bali. I traveled around Eastern Europe.
As you've been traveling in many countries, and at the same time you are working online, right?
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can call you as digital nomad, right?
I would say so. Yeah, I can work remote. I'm not bound to a place or a time.
Could you tell me why many digital nomads tend to travel to Bali for living?
It's a very well-known touristic destination. I think people have been coming there for hundreds of years already. It's known as a paradise. Digital nomads like to be able to focus on their work, and that means that they need to be unburdened in other ways, so that they don't have to do their laundry, they don't have to do the cooking, they don't have to do the cleaning. And all those things are offered for a really low price in Bali, of course.
So do you find Bali cheaper than Sri Lanka? Like exactly the island of Bali?
Sometimes, yes, yeah, because I was here in April last year, and you can already notice the pricing difference. I see prices increase, and I have friends who now are still in Bali, and
Yes.
I can sometimes make comparisons, and sometimes Bali is cheaper, sometimes Sri Lanka is cheaper. It's not in everything.
How did you become as digital nomad?
At the start of the COVID pandemic, I graduated and I got a traineeship in the Netherlands, and it was in IT, and that went okay, but it only lasted for 2 weeks because due to COVID, lockdown, all the offices closed, and therefore my traineeship did not have any partners, any businesses that wanted trainees. So they were bound with making the decision if they wanted to work with us,
Yes.
and risking that they could not place us somewhere, or that they fire us. And they decided to do the latter. So I was put in a room with 80 other trainees, and the director came in, and she told me that she had a very tough decision to make, and all the others, of course. And she was very emotional about it, and the room immediately sensed like this weird energy, something bad's gonna happen. Everyone was apparently out on the street at that moment. And for me that was a really eye-opening situation where I thought, do I want to put myself in a position where I could be fired at any time?
Yes.
So back home at the couch, I was thinking like, okay, what am I going to do now? And my best friend worked in e-commerce. He runs an online web shop, he still does. And I started doing his customer support. I started managing his web shop, working with his team. Over time, I got more experience with working remotely. After 2 years, I decided to start my own business in email marketing.
Okay, so it's your own business.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do? Like, do you sell something on having online market shop?
No, my business is business to business.
Yeah.
So I help online web shops create emails for their web shop. You can think of cart abandonment emails. So for example, you shop somewhere, probably you leave something in your cart, they have your email address, they reach out to you, hey, you left something, do you still want to purchase or not, essentially.
Okay.
Maybe they give you a discount. There's a whole marketing strategy behind that.
Are there any challenges of being digital nomad for you?
Well, you're completely self-dependent, obviously, so it all depends on how hard you're willing to work for it. If you dedicate it, spend a lot of time on your work, then you can get clients, you can provide a good service. If you think it is like the Instagram reels where people just are chilling in paradise, yeah, it's of course not true. It's hard work.
Yeah, hard work. You're right. So could you tell us, if you don't mind, how much you can earn working, like, let's say, per month? On
If you
your
do
field?
my job?
Yes, your field.
Well, as I said, I pay myself 1,500 euros every month. That means that I have a team, that I don't have to do everything myself, so I get a lot of time off. But that was definitely not true at the start. Like for 2 years I worked really hard, more than the 40 hours a week that you work in a 9-to-5 office job. So I think starting out is the most difficult part, and scaling up is of course also a challenge, because you need to understand people,
Yes.
and you need to understand how to grow a team that trusts you, that you trust with autonomously making decisions about your business, because your business is also your baby.
Yeah.
Most oftentimes you're very critical about it, more critical than the people that work for you.
Yeah. What kind of advices you would give to people who also want to start like you, having like online market shop? Any like most important advices maybe that you could give yourself 2 years back?
The best advice I can give, I guess, is just start today instead of tomorrow. Because the earlier you start, the further ahead you are 2 years from now. I think a lot of people freeze up in the idea that they think it's impossible to start their own business. I think many more people have the skills to start a business and grow a business than they believe.
Thank you so much. It was really nice to meet you. So it's time to interview Taylor.
Hi guys.
He's from the US. Could you tell how long you have been as digital nomad?
I left the US about 2 years ago,
Yes.
this month. So I've been traveling and living in different countries for almost 2 years now.
Wow. Could you tell me how many countries you visited during this time?
I visited many countries, but I've lived in Georgia, a small country in the Caucasus, and I've lived in Thailand, and briefly I've been in Sri Lanka for 2 months, give or take, on different occasions.
Okay, so when we talk about digital nomads, so we should mention that they are travelers. At the same time, they also work. I think we have to divide the sections. First of all, I would like to ask you about traveling. So you said that first you choose to live in Georgia,
Yes.
right? So could you tell me why you choose to leave Georgia and what kind of experiences you had that time?
Yeah, so I went on a backpacking trip. I was in Egypt and Turkey, and I just ended up in Georgia. I thought I was going to stay for 1 month, and I kept on extending this every month, and I stayed for about 7 to 8 months just because there was other nomads there that were experiencing the same type of lifestyle that I wanted. And you feed off this energy when you meet other people that are doing similar things. And so I ended up living in Georgia for a long time, and I enjoyed it, the culture, the food, the ability to work online, and it just overall, it's a lot cheaper than compared to the US.
Okay, so what kind of places do you remember that you visited in Georgia?
Well, I would take like little weekend trips all across the
Yes.
country. You know, the mountains, there's lots of hiking, there's a coastal town called Batumi. But yeah, in Georgia, you can go almost anywhere in a couple hours. You take a marshuka, a shared taxi, and get across the whole country.
Please don't forget to mention that Georgia is not the state or city of US.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like separate country.
Yeah, so for you Americans out there, there's another place called Georgia. It's a small country next to Turkey, Armenia, and Azerbaijan.
Yes, you're right. What about Georgian people? How they were behaving towards foreigners and tourists?
Yeah, Georgian people are very friendly and very opening. They want you to experience their culture. So my very first weekend in Georgia, I went to a bar by myself. And within 5 minutes, someone was already coming up to me asking what I was doing, why I was sitting here alone. And they didn't let me be alone. They gave me shots, they gave me beer, they gave me food. They paid for my meal the whole night, and
Wow.
they invited me to their house over the next couple weeks. And finally, I had to say, guys, calm down. I can pay for myself. Yeah.
So yeah, such very hospitable people.
Yes, exactly.
So after Georgia, where you have lived?
So after Georgia, the Georgian winter is very harsh for a Californian like myself. So I went to Thailand, and I ended up in Thailand. I've been based there for almost a year now.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
so long time.
Yeah.
Okay, could you tell me your experience living in Thailand?
Thailand's been great. Also, it's a huge expat nomad hub. I think there's more nomads there than anywhere else in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
And I find it very easy to live in Thailand. There's great food, of course, great healthcare, everything. Everything is super easy in Thailand.
Did you have any disadvantages, some kind of experience in Thailand?
In Thailand, it's very easy to get distracted. So they have a huge nightlife scene in Bangkok, in Chiang Mai. It's very easy to get distracted from your work and you want to party all the time because there's lots of backpackers there. So if you meet the right crowd, the right people that are staying there for a long time, you can build a nice routine, go to the gym, have a nice balance.
Do you think that there are any drawbacks being as digital nomads instead of having any advantages? Most of you know advantages.
Yeah. So I think the biggest drawback is you have to constantly meet new people when you go to a new city or country.
Yeah.
And you build great bonds, great relationships with people, and then eventually someone leaves, and that it kind of hurts when you build a great relationship and someone goes off to their next country. Another disadvantage would be you don't get to see your family and friends all the time. You know, you're on the road for a year at a time, maybe even longer, depending on how long you go or depending on how often you go back home.
Oh, okay. So what kind of facilities you need to do work as digital nomad?
To do work, I just need a laptop and good Wi-Fi. Every now and then I go to a cafe, but I choose to work from home. A lot of nomads, they go to cafes, which for me, I do the opposite. I'd rather work from home. But yeah, you don't need much to get started. You just need a laptop, a good Wi-Fi, and you need to know how to balance a budget.
So yeah, in the beginning you didn't mention what kind of social media you do like as digital nomad.
Yeah, so I used to have an online Amazon business, and then that
Yes.
kind of went downhill. I started getting into social media, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and now I've been doing this for 6-7 months constantly on YouTube and TikTok.
Could you tell me how much income you can get as being social media influencer?
I think there's the sky is the limit when it comes to YouTube and TikTok. You can make thousands of dollars a month, but for me, I'm just making roughly $50-$60 a day, and that's enough to live in Thailand. You can get a one-bedroom apartment in Thailand for as low as $250 to $300. They even have lower ones for $100. There's a budget for everyone in Thailand.
So your income, it's not like temporary, right?
No, yeah. So I can build on this. I could get, I could build wealth with this income. I can invest in other properties or stuff like that. That's the goal, to eventually build on this. Yeah, and go from
So
there.
you have to be always in move, yeah?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
improving yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You need to learn new skills. There's always room for improvement when it comes to being a nomad.
Would you like to give any message to the audience who wants to start any social media, like being influencer or traveling?
I would say travel first. Take the leap, take the jump, grab a backpack, book a one-way ticket. You can always go home. You can literally always book a flight back home. You never know the people you'll meet. You'll meet amazing people on the road. You'll build lifetime friendships. And I would say just book the ticket. There's literally nothing you can do besides that. You just need to book the ticket and go. As far as starting a YouTube channel or TikTok, that's up to you. If you feel like you can do that, you should definitely do it. But first, you need to travel and go from there.
You're right. Not only rich people can travel, but also simple people like we
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
We are traveling and enjoying the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much, David.
Of course.
Hello.
Hello,
Would you like to introduce yourself?
my name is Delphine. I'm half Irish, half French, and I'm traveling the world. It's been 8 months.
Could you tell me what was your first country that you traveled to?
Originally, I was living in Belgium. That's where I grew up. And I got tired of everything and I moved to Spain. But I lived in Spain for a bit over a year, just sort of settled. And that's where I met my partner, Felipe. He travels the world, so I was like, I'll go with you.
While traveling, you also teach online. I have seen many times we are living in the same guest house. Okay, so how did you end up of becoming digital nomad and the same traveling permanently and working online?
So traveling is something I've always wanted to do, but I think last motivation I had was I started teaching online to move to Spain. I knew that I would be able to work not too many hours because Spain is a bit cheaper than Belgium, and I had a friend who was doing it. I just thought I would give it a try. I started with teaching English and French. I lived there for a year, and then when my partner offered to go travel, I could just say yes because I already had my job online.
So it's your favorite job, teaching?
So at the start, I think, so I was a psychologist in Belgium. I needed to take a break from that. I think that it's hard to say what my favorite job is because I work also as an artisan with my partner. Teaching is something at the start I thought,
Yes.
what it would be simple, you
I
know?
think both of us same.
Yeah.
So I graduated also from chemical engineer, and at the same time I was teaching So you said that before this interview, you said that you work in 8 jobs. It happened with me too. I was teaching 8 different subjects because it was my sister's work in Almaty in Kazakhstan. And it was her first business.
Yeah.
And she didn't have enough teachers. And I just graduated from my bachelor's, and I mean, like, I was like perfectionist student at my school age, so, and I could teach like mathematics, chemistry, physics, like art and handmade work, everything I was teaching. So the same thing, yet it's difficult to choose what is your real favorite one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, definitely favorite one is traveling, as you mentioned.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so could you tell me, there might be some viewers who want to learn to speak in many languages. Maybe you can give them some advice how to start to learn different languages, and maybe when they feel some struggles, you could give them. So it happens with me as well. So I think I practiced my English after a long time, and it could improve, but it was so challenging for me because it's foreign language for me as well. So like me, or there are so many viewers, you can give some good advice.
If you want to learn many languages, I recommend going one language at a time, because you can really mix things up if you're learning several. And honestly, if you are motivated enough and you have a little bit of time, you are going to need to spend some time on it. It depends on the person, everybody needs different things. But the most important thing, I think, is if you're doing classes or if you're in immersion, you have to be having fun in the language. It's really important that it's associated with joy, because that's going to keep you going. When it comes to becoming fluent, I think immersion is the only thing I can really recommend for everybody that will work.
Okay. So in order to improve your language effectively, do you think that everyone needs a teacher, or they can study themselves?
It depends on the person.
Okay, the same thing.
I think I would find it very hard to learn a language on the go, but my partner learned 3 languages just by working in a restaurant or a hostel in the language, and he had to learn, and this was his preferred way of learning. So it depends on the person. I need the structure, I need the theory, and then I can practice.
So do you think it's a talent to speak many languages, or it's really hard working? How was it for you?
I think I had it easy because I already had 2 languages, so that makes it easier then to learn a third one. I also chose one that was easy for me because Spanish is close to French. I tried to learn German in school and I loved it, but I never went through the immersion process and I forgot very quickly. It was a lot of vocabulary and I think it was harder. So I think it depends on the language, it depends on the methods, but it's something that I think everyone can do. If you want to, you'll find a way.
Could you tell us on what kind of platforms you teach on?
So I go through platforms to find my students, but then I like to deal with everything independently. So I use a French platform called Vocou, and then there's another one called Superprof. But then actually half of my students are family members or family of friends that I think word of mouth is often the best way to find people. Or friends who are teachers who have too many people and they send them to me, or things like that. So it's a mix of different things, but those are the 2 main platforms that I use.
Yeah, you speak in 3 languages. Do you keep improving yourself in languages?
I think so. I think my English might have declined from teaching because you get used to hearing mistakes and they start to sound right, which is the weird effect of teaching. I think I'm always focusing on improving my Spanish. Every time there's a word I don't know, I'm always going to ask about it and try to remember it. And that's really fun.
So your partner speaks fluent, yeah? He is a native speaker of Spanish.
Yes, he's from Venezuela.
Okay, so that's cool that you have ability and someone who can help you in improving.
It's my privilege. I'm very lucky.
Okay, could you teach me some most important phrase in French and in Spanish? I just want to challenge myself if I have good pronunciation in other languages.
Okay. What kind of phrase, maybe for traveling or?
Yeah, okay, let's say about traveling.
Well, for example, if you want to order beer in a bar, you can say for you and your partner, you can order 2 bières s'il vous plaît.
2 bières, s'il vous plaît.
Good.
It's good?
2 bières s'il vous plaît.
2 bières, s'il vous plaît.
Bière.
Ah, bière.
Yeah.
2 bières, s'il vous plaît.
Perfect.
Okay. It's French.
That's French.
Okay. What about Spanish?
Spanish would be 2 cervezas, por favor.
2 cervezas, per favor.
Cervezas.
Ah, 2 cervezas, per favor. Okay. Yeah, I know these words, per favor, s'il vous plaît, because in our country we also watch French or Spanish movies, so that's why this phrase is really soundable for me. I know
very
it.
good.
Yeah.
So you watch with subtitles instead of dubbed?
No. Just sometimes it's like voice over, and sometimes you like mistakes in voiceover, so you hear the voice of real speaker in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, that's so beautiful languages. Could you tell us, if you don't mind, how much you can earn of teaching online, and is it enough for traveling?
So when I was living in Spain, I had time to like set up a good amount of students. I probably was working 16 hours more or less, and I was making about 1,000 a month. In Spain, that's enough. Well, in southern Spain where I was in Granada, it's enough to live quite comfortably without worrying. Maybe not saving up, but you know, that's not the point at the moment. I think, yeah, if you can organize yourself properly, it can be enough. In my case, because I'm also working with my partner, then there was that extra cash to come all the way over here to Asia. But while we're here, all of our expenses are paid easily by the classes. Finances are complicated because we have the business and we have also my sort of salary, we'll say, so there's also investment in the business, so it gets a bit complicated when you calculate everything.
Okay.
But
So
when
you are not bounded only in one job, you have different kind of business all around you. Yeah.
There's another job I do online, which is counseling. I started as a psychologist again recently. So I only have one client at the moment, but I'm open to more, and this is also an extra income, so that.
Okay, so how our viewers can contact you in case they need psychologist or teacher?
So one of the extra projects that I'm doing is an Instagram account.
Yeah.
It's called What a Trip ADHD.
Okay.
My partner and I both have ADHD, and we think it's related to why we've decided to travel so much. And so we are kind of talking about our journeys, like the advantages and disadvantages of ADHD when you're traveling.
Yes.
And our specific story and all the things that we do.
Maybe you can share any challenges that you had. It's not always perfect to travel and work online.
Well, in my case, it's the first time, so I definitely have been through a lot of culture shock. Arriving in India the first time was amazing. The first few days, it was really felt normal and chill, but then mentally I was fine, but my body kind of was like, what the fuck is going on?
So every time you have to adjust to new environment, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. And especially if you're only staying 1 or 2 months per place, then you're constantly adapting. Maybe after a few years you get used to it, I think, but that's something at the beginning. And then there's the instability, I think. You're very self-reliant. So if you mess up, or if you are in a place that has no Wi-Fi and then you have no way to figure it out, you can risk losing people. It's kind of sometimes, because you can't save up, maybe it's hard to have a safety net during these periods. So it's definitely, I think, worth it, but you have to sacrifice a little bit of stability and feeling of security.
How long have you been living in Sri Lanka?
We arrived in December and it's now February, so.
Could you tell your experience living in Sri Lanka? How is it to be a foreigner in Sri Lanka?
It's been super nice. We haven't visited a lot of the country because we're based here in Mirisa and we stay here all the time. So I think one challenge for me is knowing that I'm here so far from Europe and I'm not doing the tourist things. Like I'm not spending the money to see elephants or to do, travel and see temples, because I'm spending a lot of my time working actually. It's like, but I like also feeling like I'm living here. So maybe on one hand it's a bit more of an authentic experience at the same time. But I think it's beautiful. I think the people are wonderful. I think that maybe sounds cliche because everyone says it, but everyone says it because it's true. So I think it's an amazing place and there's animals everywhere. That's one of the things I love.
What would you say about expenses?
So I was in India just before, so when I arrived, I was like, oh my god, everything's expensive.
In Sri Lanka, yeah?
Compared to India. Compared to India, yes, but when I make myself think in euros again, because I've switched to rupees in my brain, I kind of remember that it's actually very cheap here. A necessity for us because with the amount of hours that I'm working, like I need to be in a cheap country. That's like a condition. That's another challenge maybe of being a digital nomad, is that depending on the job that you have, you might not be able to go to any country. It has to be the cheaper one.
Thank you so much. It was really nice to meet you. I really hope that today's video made you one step closer to your dreams. Guys, believe in yourself. You can do anything what you really desire. Thank you everyone for watching this video to the end. Please don't forget to click like button, subscribe and turn on post notification for the next coming up vlogs. See you guys soon. Bye bye.